The equipment has to have names, and it doesn't all have names. But we need to start establishing them, because we call the big cat the big girl or the big cat. We call the dozer Brunhilde is a name that's been suggested. Very powerful lady. But the Mini, it's not fair to call it a Mini. It's not exactly a Mini, it's an E50. It's a mid-size machine, very capable. A manly kind of name, but not a large man. I think Percy or something like that might be a name that would stick. But today, got to put the cylinders back on. The little thumb cylinder was leaking because the end gland had worked its way loose. Don't know why or how, but it had. Main cylinder, the top was buggered because its seals were buggered, but they're both done. Got them back. It's one of the few things that I do not do myself. This one here has been rebuilt a couple of times. Is weeping a tiny amount, but that can wait. These two were peeing out fluid. I could see it dripping as I was working, so it really drove me a little nuts. So that's going back. Big one's going back on top. It's a little too heavy to lift. I'll have to do that with the skid steer, I think, because I need this machine today. So I better get on it. Oh, this is annoying. And I don't know why it's like this. I think it's because a previous owner has put this cylinder on the wrong way around. I don't mean the wrong way around, the wrong way up. But since the hoses are the correct size to fit the way it is, I'm going to have to leave it the way it is. The problem is there's a nut and a clip that retains this hose that you cannot get to because of this. And there is no positioning this cylinder in a way that allows for it. So what I got to do is I've got to I got to undo that end, lift the cylinder up in the air so that I can get to this bolt that's down in here. Right there. So if I rotated it, then this hose that right now is tight in this position would for sure not be long enough to go over the top to where the new port would be, which is here. The grease nipple has been turned around and put on this way, so that doesn't matter. I can rotate that. This hose is long enough. So this hose is too darn short. Now the hoses are out of the way like this, so I can understand why somebody did it, because you don't want a hose snaking over the top if you can get away with it. It's just that that's not nice. So it's gonna have to come down to the ground again. I'm gonna have to take that pin out. I'm taking that pin out because there's no circlips, and it's easier to get to because there's just one bolt. It was no fun. So note to self, don't ever put cylinders in the wrong way up. So what I have to do at some point is get a slightly longer hose and rotate that cylinder around. It only means taking one end out and rotating it. but I do have to take that hose off for it to twist. Take both hoses off, sorry, for them to twist. The bizarre thing is they seem to be the right length the way they are. And that is the way it was for the longest time. So I don't like where that clamp is. It doesn't seem correct to me. But we'll just see what happens. But it's all together, so the reason for no talking is that there's really no explanation needed. It's just a matter of hammers and pry bars and remembering what hose came from where. Job done. I have to go do some work with the machine now, so off I go to the races.